Hello everybody, I'm Huell Howser, and here we are on this beautiful morning in the historic community of Saratoga in Santa Clara County, a little south of San Francisco. Now we've come to Saratoga to spend the whole morning in this house, this beautiful house located on a quiet little tree-lined street here in Saratoga. At first glance, it's nothing that really separates this house from all the other beautiful little houses on this street. But believe me, it's not going to take long before we all discover that this house is doing its part to keep California green. Okay, our adventure begins, and our tour guide through this trip today is Ted Reiff. Ted, I kind of set this up by saying that this house is doing its part to help keep California green. And when you drive down this road and you see the chain link fence and you hear the hammering going on in the background, the first thing you would think was that maybe there was some construction work going on here, that something was being added on to the house. But the kicker here is that this house is not being constructed. This house is being deconstructed, and that requires an explanation. What do I mean by saying that this house is being deconstructed?
Well, deconstructed in our terminology, Huell, is that we're taking the house down in the reverse order in which it was built. In neighborhoods throughout the country, and certainly here in California, homes are being gotten rid of because new homes need to be built. And what's happening traditionally is this would go to a bulldozer or an excavator. But about 12 years ago, we started a company to salvage building materials. So what we and our crews do is take buildings down board by board in the reverse order in which they were built.
Deconstructed.
Deconstructed.
Now, salvage is not a new idea. Of taking, you know, the toilets and the bathtubs and the doors and the windows and selling them at salvage companies. This is a little different. You're a non-profit organization.
That is correct. We're a 501c3, public benefit corporation, and our charter is to keep building materials out of the landfill. So when we talk about building materials, we include everything. That is the toilets and the doors and the windows, but also all the framing lumber, the roof sheathing, the plywood, the floor, all the other elements of the house that can be salvaged, we salvage.
Everything.
Everything. Our typical house, we can save up to 85% of the total weight of a house.
This is amazing. But let's go inside and see what's going on in here. And this is what's really fun. Oh boy. It's quickly getting down to the bare bones, isn't it?
It is, that's right. All the drywall and plaster has been removed. All the fixtures, the light fixtures, the plumbing fixtures, the flooring has all been removed. We're now working on the windows, the exterior windows and the doors, and next week the framing will start coming down.
So you're literally going to take every single board, every single brick, every single tile, everything in this house will go.
Exactly, exactly, and it'll all be salvaged, and it'll wind up in our warehouse over in Alameda.
Now, is it hard to deconstruct a house? I mean, we're used to seeing bulldozers just come in and take buildings down. Is it hard to take them apart piece by piece?
It's not hard, but it does take a long time. We've got a crew of 5 working on this house, and they'll be here for 3 weeks. We take approximately 10 times longer than a bulldozer or the excavator would. So it's not so much the difficulty, it's just the care that has to be taken and the amount of time involved.
They're deconstructing the windows out of this house.
The windows and the doors.
Now, why is it to anyone's advantage to have their house deconstructed instead of just calling a bulldozer in to take it down?
Well, there's 2 reasons, Huell. The first one is it's just simply the right thing to do from an environmental standpoint. Otherwise, this stuff would all wind up in the landfill. But the second part of it is there's some real economics behind it, because as a nonprofit organization, all these materials represent a tax donation to the owner.
So the owner gets a write-off for the whole house?
Correct. For the materials in the house.
That's amazing. Yep. So let me get the economics down. The owner pays your company to come in and deconstruct.
That's correct.
And then gets a tax write-off for that deconstruction.
Right, for the materials that we have salvaged.
So why wouldn't that be to everybody's advantage to do that?
Well, frankly, it is. The biggest one, of course, is that not everybody is in a tax bracket that they could take advantage of that kind of a deduction. And number two, and probably more importantly, it takes, again, as I had mentioned earlier, about 10 times longer than a bulldozer does.
Yeah.
And construction projects are always behind schedule, as we all know.
Now, how much of this is going on in California? How many houses and buildings are being deconstructed?
We're probably the largest organization in California doing it, and we do around 150, 200 houses a year. I would suspect if you add everybody else to that, it might come up to the same number. So it's a small number.
That's just
only
a drop in the bucket.
Peanuts.
Wow.
Absolute peanuts.
So why isn't more of this going on?
Well, frankly, not a lot of people know about us or know about the other organizations that are doing it. It's just simply a matter of getting the word out. And as a nonprofit organization, those kind of budget dollars are hard to come by.
Yeah, to get marketing dollars.
Exactly.
Now, in the past, what would have happened to all this wood that's stacked out here?
Goes in the landfill.
This would have gone in the landfill.
Exactly.
Because this is perfectly good wood.
It is. It is. And in high demand. You know, to buy this today is, very, very expensive.
But I don't understand why the economics say that it should just be torn down and put in a landfill.
Well, because it's just cheaper to run a bulldozer through it, and our landfill rates are so low that it's just cheaper to throw it away than it is to have 5 guys working for 3-4 weeks on the project.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So this is just the tip of the iceberg of what's just in this one house.
That is correct. In fact, this only came from a couple of rooms.
Wow. Okay, so here come the doors. Now, the doors are something that you would normally see in a salvage company, you know, where you can go down and buy doors.
That's right. That's right.
What sets you apart is that not only are we taking out the doors, but we're taking the shingles, the gutters, the walls, the brick, everything.
In fact, even some of the landscaping. For instance, there's 2 junipers out there at the front gate that we're going to be saving and taking back to the warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody just figured out that a way to cut down on what goes in the landfill is to find a new life for all this material.
Exactly. C&D, what we call C&D, which is construction and demolition debris, makes up 35 to 40% of the average city's waste stream. So that's a big number, and that's across the board. Some cities are higher depending upon their construction activity, and of course some are lower where there isn't any construction activity. But on average across the country, 30 to 35%, up as high as 40% of the solid waste stream is construction and demolition debris.
Well, look what this house would do to a landfill. This would make a pretty good. This would fill a big hole in the landfill.
Well, there's probably 30 tons of material here, not including the concrete and the asphalt.
Wow. And you're going to get the concrete and the asphalt as well.
We will, yeah, and that'll get ground up.
Now, how hard is it to train these guys to do what they're doing? Because there's an art to it, isn't there, in a way?
Oh, there is a real art, because the criticality is salvaging the material for reuse.
Yeah.
And so if it's damaged or broken, it obviously can't get reused.
Yeah.
So our fellows generally will train for about 3 months before we feel comfortable that they can work on their own or not work in a team for deconstruction.
Now, how will this be used? Will I be able to buy this somewhere?
Yeah, in our warehouse in Alameda, you'll see material just like this, inside trim, that is the same dimension and the same shape, and you can come in there and we sell it by the lineal foot. Typically at prices that are anywhere between 5 to 25% of retail.
We're going to go to the warehouse because I want to see where all this stuff goes. Boy, they are going full stream right now. They are really taking this thing down, aren't they?
They sure are. We don't waste time, or we try not to.
But you know, I was just thinking, this isn't for you a sad thing now. This is a good thing, a happy thing, because rather than this just going in the landfill, all of the elements of this house, from the roof to the foundation, are going to find new homes and are going to be reused. And it's like this house will not be sitting on this spot anymore, but parts of it will be used in houses all over California.
That's right, exactly, and possibly Mexico. Yeah. That's the beauty of the thing, because somewhere somebody is going to reuse this material. We don't know where and we don't know who, but somebody somewhere will have all this material in reuse in their home.
And it's not going in to a landfill.
That's right. It's not going to a landfill.
There it goes.
Your land, land is my land. From the California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
Well, hello everybody. I'm Huell Howser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this particular episode of California's Green about deconstruction. If you'd like to see it again, it's available on video cassette and on DVD.